America is like one of those countries where everyone can fight for freedoms. Almost every other country in the world follows the movements that happen in America. I was just having a Skype conference with one of my friends in France, and he's a half black gay man growing up in suburban white neighborhoods of France. And he told me the way that French racism works, you're not actually allowed to categorize yourself as any race because it's an indivisible, undivided nation, so you're just French. But when it came to social media, they just wouldn't hire him because he's black. And there's nothing they can say about it because they're not allowed to categorize themselves for being different. It's like a boxed problem, like you can't even get out of. But if we can, you start a movement in America where more and more, there's more diversity in social media, people will follow. Like the rest of the world watches television in America, the rest of the world follows the industry in America. And if they see that happening in America, they're like, oh, we got to do that too because it's so successful, Like, and on top of that, what causes it? And I would say it's like a lack of awareness about the issue. Whitewashing. Why has it now become such a big issue? Or why, like the Oscars being so white? But the whole time it's been happening for like 100 years, and you didn't even know about it right in front of your eyes. I like to quote from a movie called Detachment, which starred Adrian Brody. He labeled this as a marketing holocaust, and that's really what it is. You're just slowly dying in social media because if 70 to 80% of social media is run by the white community, what room does that have for you to have like any say? How does that reflect your image? It hurts it could deter your image. It could just disfigure it. Because, look at it feeds stereotypes. If you look at what's the general American view of the Asian stereotype? Growing up as a mixed kid in white suburbia, I was often called Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, and I had no idea because when I was a kid, from whitewashing, whenever I would read a book, without any pictures, unless I was told otherwise, I would always imagine all the characters white. In a fantasy story, I would always imagine the characters white. I would even imagine myself as a main character being white. That's the problem right there. That's whitewashing. That's actually wrong. And the reason that is because we don't acknowledge that this is continually happening in Hollywood until now.
I love that you said that, Daniel. I actually pulled up a Noam Chomsky quote. He says, you don't have any other society where the educated classes are so effectively indoctrinated and controlled by a subtle propaganda system. Knowing that, like how pervasive media is, this goes back to what you were saying too, Benet. I'm wondering, is media making for everyone? I had a similar, just to give you an anecdote, especially since we're talking to a lot of law students who may not have considered making media or having a blog, creating content that really shapes the way that we're perceived in our work. I had a conversation last week about entrepreneurship, and a similar question came up. Is entrepreneurship for everyone? And I said, absolutely. Entrepreneurship is a choice that's available to everyone, and we live in a capitalist society, so I understand how one could say, no, somebody's got to do the work for other people, but you can do the work for other people as your own brand and entity too. So similarly, when we think about media making and how important it is as people of color, do you think is something that everyone should consider? Is it for everyone?
Entrepreneurship?
Media making.
Media making, absolutely. If you ever had so being, I'm trying to think of the right way to, if you ever wanted to get into media making, do it. There's often, even I understand, like having a Korean mother, that the concerns of many minority parents approaching social media in America, it's not very popular. You'll never be like, the main guy in the movie. Like you're never gonna be the star. You're never gonna be the people that people can relate to or emulate. And I think that's just bullcrap because, and it's because they just feel like there's a lack of opportunity, which is true. But if If all of us, if we just flood social media with diversity, that would open up the doors to everyone. There's just people lining up for all these roles that haven't been open to the public. I mean, just look at today, like the movie Exodus, which was supposed to be a biblical representation, but it starred a Australian guy and a British guy playing Moses. Like, that's not real. Like, seriously. And then look at the gods of Egypt. A Scottish guy is playing the god of Egypt. You have to be kidding me.
Brandon, I want to toss, thank you for that. I want to toss to you too.